So George Herbert Walker Bush gets shot down. He was bombing the island of Chichi-jima.
Yeah.
So then George Herbert Walker Bush goes to school in Yale, and he doesn't know that there's a secret trial out in Guam, and the Japanese cut open the stomachs of 8 American aviators and ate their livers. They barbecued. They were going to barbecue and eat George Bush.
Right.
And I got the documents from a guy who was dying. He was sworn to secrecy at the trial, but he gave me the documents, and he took it to the BBC, and the BBC said, "You're crazy. They weren't eating people." And nobody would listen to him. And I thought, maybe this is true. So I barged in on George Herbert Walker Bush's life. That's another story how I cornered him in a men's room. And I said, "President Bush," I said, "I went to where you were shot down, and this other guy got his liver eaten, and you got to talk to me." And he said, "James, I can't talk to you. My son just became president, and I'm not giving interviews." And I said, "I don't care about that." I said, 8 guys got killed, you got away, and you got to talk to me. So George Bush, once I convinced him I knew what I was talking about, said, "James, bring me back to Chichi-jima." And he told the Secret Service, "Listen to James, we're going." So I took George Bush back to where he was going to get his head cut off, and I introduced him to the Japanese who were going to do it.
You mean you literally took him back there?
We flew from the United States to an air base in Japan, and then Chichi-jima doesn't have, it's mountainous, you can't land there.
Right.
So we went to Iwo Jima. There's a picture in the book of me and President Bush on Mount Suribachi in Iwo Jima. And then the Japanese military helicoptered us over to Chichi-jima, and we got out, and there were some Japanese soldiers I had pre-positioned. And I said, "So President Bush, you were bombing these guys trying to kill them, right?" And he said, "Yes." And I said to the Japanese, I said, "You shot him down and you were going to cut his head off, right?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, guys, let's have a beer." And they held each other. These guys were, in their 80s, hugging the Japanese who were going to kill them. The Japanese are hugging them. And these vets are crying. You really realize what war is about. They hated each other when they were 21. And then when they're 81, they're hugging each other and crying.